Hi, today we're going to look at the chemical bond demonstration in the book Joy of Chemistry by Kathy Cobb and Monty Federoff. In the book it's described, they start the description with an explanation that the copper sulfate, which we're going to use soon, is an ionic substance that contains copper 2+ ions and sulfate 2- ions, as well as sodium iodide. She also, and Monty also, described covalent bonds in iodine. We see electrons being shared by the two iodine atoms. It's called also I2. And in the demonstration you're told to go to the store and purchase some tincture of iodine, which we did. And it's used as an antiseptic for cuts, minor cuts. And here it tells you about the contents. It shows you that the active ingredients have 2% iodine and 2.4% sodium iodide, which is what Kathy Cobb and Monty Federoff say in the beginning of this demonstration. In the bottom you can read, I hope you can read, tincture of iodine contains I2, iodine, and iodide, as in sodium iodide, but mostly a complex of the two. Because there's a complex of the two, the complex is ionic. Now later on in chapter 8 it talks about polar solvents and nonpolar solvents. And what this demo is all about is that like dissolves like. Polar solvents like water, which is ionic or polar, dissolves ionic substances like copper sulfate. And nonpolar covalent substances like this mineral oil, which we bought, and we're going to use a test tube instead of a 2-liter soda bottle. I think it's neater. You pour about an inch in it. A little bit smaller scale than they have in the demonstration. But nonpolar solvents or covalent solvents like mineral oil are going to dissolve substances that are covalent like iodine. The first step in this demonstration is to add some mineral oil and some copper sulfate solution to your 2-liter soda bottle. Again, we're using a test tube instead. And we'll put in about equal amounts of copper sulfate, about 0.2 molar, and mineral oil in a test tube. A little bit more copper sulfate. As you see, the copper sulfate, before we even try to mix it, stays at the bottom of the tube. It's slightly heavier, slightly denser than the mineral oil, and they form two separate layers. The mineral oil is clear up top, and the copper sulfate is a light blue copper sulfate color on the bottom. We're told to shake them up. And if we shake them up and let them separate, you see that the copper sulfate goes to the bottom again and the mineral oil stays on top, clear. Hope you can see that clearly. Now what we're going to do, and this is the important part of the demonstration, the second part I think complicates what we're trying to learn here. This is the applicator for the iodine solution. We'll just rest it on the table. We'll add a few drops of iodine solution. I'll hold it so you can see that. I added a few drops. Now that's a combination of iodine, I2, and sodium iodide that has I- in it. I haven't shaken it up yet. Let me put my cork back in here. Close off the mineral spirits. and shake this up. It's brown, tincture of iodine. But what happens here is that, and in the book it's explained, the copper sulfate, you'll learn later how this happens, oxidizes this mixture of I2 and I minus so that there's hardly any I minus. And it's all I2, so there's no longer any complex. Only I2 is left, iodine, and iodine is covalent. And it dissolves in the mineral oil. But darn, it's turned our copper sulfate brown. It's not supposed to have done that. It's not supposed to have done that, but it did. The important thing is that you can see that the iodine became dissolved in the mineral oil. And that's a demonstration of a covalent substance being dissolved in a nonpolar solvent, like mineral oil. The second part of the demonstration has us add ammonia to our copper sulfate solution, which is sort of a dull brownish gray. It's supposed to be blue. And mineral oil iodine mixture, a few milliliters. We'll add a lot, actually. We've done this before and we didn't get proper results. You can see already that something else is forming by its color. We'll shake it up. Looks like mud here. We're not getting the royal blue color we're supposed to have gotten. I put too much iodine in here this time. That's what happened. But if you use a little bit less iodine than I did, this we did about an hour ago, you'll get a royal blue color in your copper sulfate, and some of your mineral oil will separate into clear mineral oil at the top. That's how they describe it in their book. The reason you get this royal blue color is a new substance is formed. You might have it later on in the book, but it's a copper ammonia complex. Okay? And that's the color of it. And because the copper is no longer available to oxidize this iodine-iodide complex, the iodine-iodide complex reforms and dissolves back in the copper sulfate solution, back into the water solution. There's no longer any available to dissolve in the mineral oil, so it loses a lot of its purple color. Okay, I hope you learned something from that.